Happy Friday. Welcome to Talkin Fight with me, Holly Donovan. Today, I will be previewing the fight night that is happening tomorrow at the Manchester AO Arena. And headlining, we have the fabulous Natasha Jonas, and she faces Marie Eve Dicaire of Canada. That's a boxer night, but being tacked onto that, we've also got an exhibition fight from the legend, the hitman Ricky Hatton, and he'll be facing Marco Antonio Barrera. I'll also go through a couple of the other cards as well, just so that you can enjoy tomorrow just that little bit more. It's all live on Sky Sports tomorrow night. So without further ado, let's have a little look at the poster. So ta-da! This is a fight night that I'll be previewing. So obviously Ricky Hatton isn't on there because it's like an addition. Theirs was supposed to happen on in July, 7th of July. It got postponed. So now it's been put on this boxer card. However, I'm still going to kind of keep the order, and I'm going to let Natasha Jonas and Marie Eve Dicaire have the headliner, and I'm going to talk about their fight first. So next picture, please. Let's have a little zoom in at the headlining fight. Okay, so we've got Natasha Jonas on the left from Liverpool. She currently holds 2 belts at super welterweight. And then we've got Marie Eve Dicaire, who has the IBF belt at super welterweight. So Natasha's going for her 3rd belt. I'm really excited about this. I know I pretty much say this every week. I'm like, oh, I love this fighter. There's been a lot of really good female fights lately. On a channel that I present, it's called The Fight to Fight with me, Holly Donovan. And there's an interview with Natasha Jonas on there. She was so lovely. And I learned all about her career, how she got into boxing. Obviously, I'm going to give you a little preview of it now in this show. But please check it out if you want to know more about her, because there's lots of stories from champion female fighters. And you know how I like to champion them. So, okay, without further ado, let's chat about Natasha first. So, she has had 15 fights, 12 wins. 8 of them by KO. She's had 2 losses, one to Katie Taylor, which I like to ignore, although I think she's ready for a rematch pretty soon. There was another loss in 2018 to Urbanov, but again, I think that fight has made her an awful lot stronger. So she has 2 of the fights. This is going for her 3rd one. This is her 3rd world title fight in 9 months. She has absolutely gone for it this year. Now, she has moved up 3 weight categories to super welterweight. So this is not her natural place. However, it's absolutely working for her. The power that she has found at super welterweight is absolutely incredible. When she won her 1st belt, that was against Chris Namus. She got a 2nd round TKO. Like, honestly, it was so quick. It was so powerful. Find it on YouTube. You will see this power that she just has. It just exploded from her. Her 2nd fight to get that 2nd belt, she was against Patricia Burkholdt. That was a unanimous decision, so it went the full 10 rounds. However, again, look at it on YouTube. The power, the accuracy, the speed, she has all 3. She is really, really quite lethal at the moment, I think. I've never seen her like this. I've been a fan for a long time. So let's go backwards. She actually began as a footballer in her youth. She actually got a scholarship to go to the USA to study football, but she unfortunately got an injury, which meant that she could literally never play football again. So she came back from the USA, back to Liverpool, and she didn't really know what to do with herself. And she took up karate as a way to lose weight, really. She felt quite lost after coming back. She'd always been part of a team. She'd always had fitness just there. And all of a sudden it had gone. So she went and did karate. It was okay. She liked it. And she said that she met a woman there called Sylvia Singleton, who ran a women's gym or women's boxing gym, and also for youth boxers as well. And she kept saying to Natasha, oh, come to my gym, come try out boxing, come on, come on. And Natasha, apparently, she told me, she just kept saying no. She was like, no, I don't want to go, I don't want to go, I don't want to go. Eventually she went, just because it got to the point where it was actually awkward. Like, she just had to go. And then she literally never looked back. She's had a fabulous amateur career. And what's really cool about Natasha, she goes down in history as the 1st ever female to qualify and fight at the Olympics as a boxer. So she was obviously at London 2012. Now, after her amateur career, she stepped away from the sport because back then in 2012, there wasn't a lot of female fights, as we know. It was a very quiet scene, and she thought that she didn't really have a future within the sport. She was okay with that, so she stepped back. She thought it was a goodbye, and she actually had a little baby called Mila, and she became a mum. And still to this day, she says the greatest title she has is mum, which is really nice. However, 2017, 16, 17 comes along. Katie Taylor, we all know about her. She starts making waves. Women's boxing is starting to get in, getting a little bit of limelight. And Natasha Jonas receives a call. Do you want to come back? She's like, ooh, I don't know. At the moment, like her whole life was centered around her daughter. It was completely different. But eventually the call was too strong. She did go back. And with her trainer, Joe Gallagher, she has become just a fantastic boxer. She was with Matchroom before. I think she was a little bit overlooked. She was kind of always the underdog. However, she has since signed with Boxer, and her career has it's just stratospheric. It's just amazing now. She works a lot as a pundit too. She is better at everything, she says. So she was expecting to find it really hard going back into full-on camps and training, but actually she was faster, she was stronger, everything was better. So her and her trainer, Joe Gallagher, obviously they've worked really hard. They've moved up through the weights now, and now she has finally found her place. She's doing such a great job. So this is her third fight at super welterweight. Her plan is to keep her opponent, Marie Eve Dicaire, moving, because that's the thing. I've looked a lot at Marie Eve, and she does a lot of holding and coming in. She uses her weight, and obviously Natasha Jonas isn't naturally a super welterweight, so she plans to use her skill and boxing IQ just to keep that fight moving, which also means it's going to be really entertaining. Let's chat a little bit about Marie Eve. So she's from Canada. She's had 19 fights. She's only had one loss, and that was to Claressa Shields. So just like I've totally forgiven Natasha for the loss against Katie Taylor, I'm going to forgive Marie Eve Dicaire for losing against Claressa Shields because, well, she's only had one KO though, so you could argue that she's not as powerful as a fighter. But like I said, she is bigger. She's only ever had one fight outside of Canada so far, so this will be her second outing. She also beat Kristen Amos, so they've got this joint opponent. Natasha Jonas, like I said, that was the second round TKO, but it was a unanimous decision for Marie Eve Dicaire. So I don't know if that gives you a little bit of an idea of the power of these two. She was lovely at the press conference, like super, super nice. She couldn't believe that she was headlining a fight. She was really excited. And she said that when she turned pro, she was laughed at. They said, there's no future in female boxing. What are you doing? This was, when did she turn pro? It was earlier. It was back in 2015 that she went pro. So back then it was obviously, well, even earlier than when Natasha Jonas did it. She did it in 2017. So it was a very quiet time for female fighting, but she went for it. She was like, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to have world titles. I don't care. And here she is now. She also came into the sport through karate. Interesting. She started at 6, and she was actually the Canadian. She won the Canadian championships, which is pretty cool. And then she went into boxing. She had quite a short amateur career, about 50 fights. But she, since being a pro, has had 6 world title fights. And she won her belt back in 2021. She actually lost it to Claressa Shields, but she did win it back again. So she is a 2-time world champion. So her last fight was back in December 2021. So she said yesterday in the press conference that she was super relaxed, really rested, and ready. She's had basically a whole year off, essentially. So she feels really, really strong. She tried to psych Natasha Jonas out a little bit. She put heels on just so she was even more taller. Because obviously she's got the height and reach advantage. She wanted to make that look even bigger in the weigh-in. You'll see in the photos. However, Natasha's the favourite. I'm going with Natasha. I know you're probably thinking, well, she always says that. Obviously, she's going to go for the British girl. Well, yeah, but actually, she's a really good, skilled fighter as well. So look out for this. It's going to be fast. It's going to be furious. I think it'll be the fight of the night, like for sure. Now let's move on to, I want to talk about the exhibition fight next, because I love the story behind it. So next photo, please. Let's chat about Ricky Hatton and Marco Antonio Barrera. So Obviously, they're retired fighters, both world champions, both super fan favorite, really entertaining world champions. Ricky's 44. Marco Antonio is 48. Now, I'm not going to stand here and be like, oh, I know everything about all their careers. I don't. When Ricky went pro, I was 8. So, yeah, all the knowledge I've got is from going on YouTube, watching his previous fights, which are really entertaining, learning about their careers. And something I've really enjoyed actually is learning more about Ricky Hatton and the reason why he has taken this fight, which I'm going to tell you about that now because it's really cool. So let's start with Ricky. He has had 48 fights, 43 wins, 3 losses, and how many? 32 KOs. So we're talking about, I mean, incredible world champion right here. At one point, he had 9 fights in 12 months. He's also made 15 successful defenses in a row of a world title. We're talking about a serious champion here, like really, really brilliant. It's 10 years since he retired. Now he is coming back to this fight. It's for charity and it's for mental health. So this isn't, you know, your Floyd Mayweather making a load of money kind of thing. This is him trying to raise awareness for something that he really, really struggled with throughout his career. He suffered a couple of losses to the absolute greats. It was Manny Pacquiao, it was Floyd Mayweather. So again, I'm going to forgive him for those. But when he was going through his pro career, he did suffer with mental health. He said when he began, he went pro at the age of 22. And when he first began, when he began to become a star and people knew about him and he was rising in the ranks and in fame, he was always really paranoid about what people were saying about him, you know, whether he came across as a nice guy or not. He was so desperate to come across as that nice person. He didn't ever want to disrespect anybody. So he was always really worried about that. And that was the beginnings. And in between his camps as well, he would really fluctuate in weight. He would dive into drink. He would gain tons and tons of weight. He actually gained the nickname Ricky Hatton, in and out of weight, and it was because of depression. He was sent in some horrible places. When he suffered his losses, that was when it really hit him. And he said in interviews, a direct quote, that was when his head fell off. And what he means by that is that it was just a spiral of depression. He just couldn't stand the losses. He didn't know what to do with himself. He fell out with his very long time trainer, Billy Graham. He also fell out with his parents. And he said that when he was in the ring, he would look ringside and his parents would be there. But at this time, they weren't. And he couldn't cope with it. He's openly said he turned to drink, he turned to drugs, and he attempted suicide. So really, really fell. Now, when this fight opportunity came to him, he saw this as a chance to come out of his depression and to get better and to have a goal. He'd already made huge strides and was an ambassador for various mental health charities. And he wanted to show everyone, actually, there is a way out. I've been right at the very, very bottom, and you can bring yourself out. You can rise again and be happy again. And he's found that happiness now. You know, he's a trainer. He trains his son as well, Campbell Hatton, who fought last week. And he's lost so much weight, like 4 stone, and he's become a much healthier person. And he's so pleased that this has happened. He can't wait to hear the Manchester crowd again. He can't wait to feel just to show everyone who he is now and how he's come back from literally the brink of death. And what's really nice about this is that him and Marco Antonio Barrera are friends. They're longtime friends. This is going to be a fight with 8 rounds of 2 minutes. So, and obviously bigger gloves and things. So it's going to be safer, but these guys know how to entertain. And I think because of the shorter rounds as well, it'll be fast, it'll be furious. I genuinely think it'll be really good. Let's talk a little bit about Marco Antonio. So he was nicknamed the baby-faced assassin. So again, massive world champion. His last fight was in 2011, so 10 years since retirement, pretty much. And his last fight in Manchester, interestingly, was against Amir Khan, where he actually lost his titles there. But now he's returning back again for a very different kind of fight. He was a fan favorite, known for like really entertaining brawls, same as Ricky, really. 20-year career. He had 8 successful defenses in a row of a world title. He had 4 world titles. I mean, he went pro when he was 15. Hence how he has had 75 fights, 67 wins, 7 losses, 44 KOs. One of his losses again is to Manny Pacquiao, so they've got that in common as well. I just think this is going to be amazing. I really do. I think this will be something. This will be like a joy to watch. And like I said, it's for a really good cause, and they both help the hope that this inspires people in the future. So tune in. That's going to be after the Natasha Jonas fight. It's going to be later on. So just don't turn off after Natasha Jonas, and you'll see that as well. All right, let's move on to the next fight. So next photo, please. This is the British super lightweight title, and we have Dalton Smith, and he is against Casey Benjamin. This is going to be good. Tell you why. Dalton Smith, I've been watching him for a few years now. He is great. When I first saw him, I just thought he was brilliant, really skilled. And it was one to watch. And yes, he's being billed as a prospect. I believe that he is going to work his way right up, and we're looking at a future world champion. So there's I've pretty much given it away already. He's the favorite. Think he's going to win. So he's 12-0. He's had 9 KOs, which is amazing. He already holds the British super lightweight title, so this is his first defense. He won the belt. When was it? It was earlier this year, and it was against Sam O'Mason. He dominated the whole thing. Like when I was watching it, it was a 6th round TKO. But to be honest with you, like it was just right from the beginning. He was brilliant. He has a lovely story. He's coached by his dad since he was 6 years old. He used to do football when he was little, but his dad took him to a boxing gym. His dad hadn't done boxing either, so they both like learned alongside each other, which I think is really nice. So his dad learned to be a trainer, whilst Dalton obviously learned to be a boxer and train each other, which is lovely. The football apparently that he went to clashed timings with boxing, so he had to make the decision, I'm going to go full-time boxing, which he did. Glad he did, because what a pro. So his dad, they have a really close relationship. He was a single dad. He's got 2 sisters. It's a lovely family connection going on here. Now, he's a fabulous amateur. However, he didn't go to the Tokyo Olympics because there was a rule change in weight classes. It didn't fit with what Dalton Smith was. So he was like, no, I'm going straight into pro. So in 2019, here he comes. Signs with Matchroom and Eddie Hearn. And every fight I've seen him in, he's been great. I mean, his boxing IQ is brilliant, brilliant punch selection. He wants to go on the journey. You know, he's done the belts, he wants to move forward. So obviously this is the British one, and he'll go on to international, and then he wants to do world. So, and what I love is that he has that visual thing. He says he visualizes all of his all the things that he wants to achieve, and they seems to be happening. So obviously it's working for him. Now this will be his toughest fight yet. Casey Benjamin, he is very good. He's 27, so 2 years older. He has had 16 wins, 16 fights. He's had 1 loss, 1 draw, and he's had 6 KOs. So, you know, take from that what you will. Obviously, he's more experienced, but, you know, we haven't got the same KO rate by any means. He's a mandatory challenger to the British belt. He's wanted this fight for a while because Dalton Smith is the biggest fight for him. Now, he's had 9 wins in a row, but he's probably lesser known. He's always the underdog, really. He went pro in 2017, but what happened, apparently he was really happy just turning up to fights and like winning on points. And then someone said to him, look, you're not going to become popular like that. You're not, you know, if you want the fame, if you want the big deal, then you know. So he stepped it up, and he did. And now he's more of an entertaining fighter, like without a doubt. He had a smaller amateur career. He won 20 out of 25 of his fights. Dalton is by far the best opponent, in my opinion, from watching them both. But he's taken it really seriously. He's moved away from home. He's in a really serious camp. This fight is definitely going to be good because it's actually the 4th biggest bid for a British title fight that there's been. You know, that's behind some of the greats like AJ. So obviously they think this is going to be a really good fight, and I think it's because they know that Dalton Smith is going to be big. So watch it. It's my opinion for that one. Okay, let's look at the 4th fight. So next photo, please. Okay, so we have Fraser Clark on the left, and we've got Kamil Sokolowski on the right. I don't know if that's the same for you or if it's a mirror thing. So Fraser's the one that's more forward. Okay, so Fraser Clark, you've probably seen him because he works a lot as a Sky pundit. You've probably seen him more as that than a boxer. However, this is his debut year. He's had 3 fights, and all 3 of those have been KOs. However, in his opinion, and in my opinion, his opponents were just so far away from his level. Actually, he's just a bit frustrated, and he's really hoping that this is going to be a better match, which I think it will be. He was the Team GB boxing captain. And he won bronze at Tokyo 2020. He was actually overlooked for the 2016 Olympics because Joe Joyce got his place. This is heavyweights, by the way. Did I say that? Heavyweight. Yeah, so Joe Joyce got that. Yeah, fair enough. But he says he has no regrets at all. He's happier that he spent longer in that Team GB camp. It's made him the fighter that he is now. He began when he was 11. He said that he was a big guy and he couldn't really play football. He was pushed into rugby, didn't enjoy it. Eventually found boxing. Apparently he did it for 1 week and he was like, yes, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So it's a very quick decision. He's also worked as a security guard whilst training. You can kind of tell because obviously he's a massive guy. So he is come from a working class family, and his family were like, oh, you have to have a trade. You can't be a boxer. So he tried to be an engineer, went into engineering, didn't like it. So stuck to boxing. And now we have him going on his amateur career, great amateur career. And he went pro this year. So he's 31, which is why it seems a little bit late, but you can tell why. He just spent longer there. He has a really good relationship with his trainer, Rob McCracken. Apparently, he's at the other end of the phone. He's not just a trainer, during the day. So which is really nice. He's having literally, this could be the 4th win in 1 year. Maybe his 4th KO as well. I think it probably will be. He actually aimed to do 5 fights this year, but he couldn't because of an injury. I think he's going to win. Pretty much. He's against Kamil Sokolowski, who's 36. He's from Poland. Now, he is definitely the best opponent that Fraser has had. However, his stats might not show that. So he's had 11 wins, 26 losses, and 3 draws. However, he's had 4 KOs, and he is without a doubt better than the other opponents that he had. So I'm really hoping that this will be a more competitive fight for Fraser, or at least give him an idea of what it's really like to be in the pros. He has had 5 losses in a row, so he's also going to be on a mission, I hope. His last fight, he was beaten by Wallen back in February this year. So if you want to look that up on YouTube, see his kind of style. However, he was given 8 weeks notice for this fight. So he's really prepared to fight Fraser. Which I really hope means it's going to be super competitive. I really want that for Fraser. I really, really do. Again, he's a prospect. I think he's going to go far in this game, and I think he'll probably start to be fast-tracked as well. Because he's 31 at the moment too. All right, so now let's go into our last fight. So next photo, please. The next one, or the last one I'm going to chat about today. Okay, we've got Bradley Rhea and we've got Tyler Denny, and this is an English title fight. So this is an interesting one because I didn't know who to start with, because Bradley Rhea is the favourite and everyone's writing about Bradley Rhea and he's in more of the interviews. However, Tyler Denny is the current English middleweight holder. So he's got the belt right now. So for that reason, I'm going to start with him. So he's 31. He has really fought for this belt. So earlier this year, he fought River Wilson Bent for this title. There was what the referee thought a head clash. He stopped the fight because of it. And Tyler Denny said, it's not a head clash. This wasn't a head clash. I hit him. I punched him. It was a punch. Turns out it was a punch. Tyler Denny was right, but it was too late. He had a rematch. So the rematch was in June of this year. June 2021. Sorry, I have to move my cat out of the way because she's knocking the tripod, which is really annoying. And so in June 2021, they have this rematch, which is great. It's actually really explosive. He wins. It's a split decision win. So he finally has this belt, but my God, has he fought hard for this belt, which means I think he's going to fight hard to keep hold of it. Now he has had 14 wins, 2 losses, 3 draws. He's had no KOs actually. So that is definitely the difference, because Bradley Rhea, he's 24. He's had 14 wins and 5 KOs. He is undefeated. Tyler Denny, though, has been known to upset odds. So he has beaten undefeated fighters before. So that's just something to bear in mind. I think this is going to be competitive. Bradley Rhea is the hometown hero, though. He is from Manchester. Obviously, this fight night is in Manchester, so he's going to have the backing of the crowd. He's going to be cheering going on there. This is his first 10-round fight, though, which I think is quite interesting. Obviously, Tyler Denny's had loads, so we'll see how he goes with those extra 2 rounds. He grew up with boxing, though. He grew up in his dad's boxing gym. This is what he's known. He's a fan favorite, and he's also said he really wants to take this journey. He wants to do, the English title, British title, international, all the way up. He's wary of Tyler Denny for sure. He's taking this really seriously, despite being a favorite. So again, a great fight night. So tune in. This is on Saturday night. Available on Sky Sports. And remember, don't turn off after Natasha Jonas, because Ricky Hatton will be after that. It's weird because it hasn't been billed together. So it's hard to know that it's all on the same night. All right, so please join me next week. If I can have the little next photo. Where I will be previewing the Dillian Whyte and Jermaine Franklin fight. The heavyweights are back. Dillian Whyte, this is his first fight back since his defeat from Tyson Fury. We all saw that. And I'll be previewing that card because it's a really good matchroom card. So I hope you enjoyed the show today. Hope you enjoy Fight Night tomorrow. Remember, it's a boxer card on Sky Sports. Start, I think, 7 o'clock. The card begins. Please watch out for all those fighters. I hope that knowing a little bit about them and their story helps you have a great night. Watch out for my fave, Natasha Jonas. If you want to make a bet on her. Okay, thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you same time next week, 2 p.m. UK time, for Talkin Fight with Holly Donovan. Please like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.